The Lakers just pulled off the most lopsided trade of the NBA season, and they are not the team that won it. I'm going to show you exactly why the Utah Jazz just fleeced the Los Angeles Lakers. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why some league insiders are already calling this a mistake that could haunt LA for the next decade. 2 unprotected first-round picks, 2 future first-round swaps, and $32.5 million a year for 4 years. One center who missed the final 77 games of last season with a shoulder injury. That is the story. Stick with me, because I'm going to break down exactly how this happened, why the Lakers had almost no choice but to make this deal, and who actually wins this trade 2 years from now. Let's get the cold facts straight before we get into the hot take. On July 1st, 2026, the Los Angeles Lakers officially acquired center Walker Kessler from the Utah Jazz in a sign-and-trade. Kessler is 24 years old, stands 7'2", and has built a reputation as one of the better two-way big men in basketball. Elite rim protection, elite rebounding, when he's actually on the floor. Here's exactly what Los Angeles gave up to get him. Unprotected first-round draft picks in 2031 and 2033, plus first-round pick swaps in 2028 and 2030. This was a clean 2-team deal, just the Lakers and the Jazz. No third team involved. No extra draft capital flowing back to Los Angeles to soften the blow. On Kessler's side, he signs a 4-year, $130 million contract with the Lakers. That works out to $32.5 million a year. The deal includes a player option in the 4th season and a full trade kicker, which increases his overall payout even further. Utah also walks away with a trade exception worth half of Kessler's first-year salary, which they can use down the line to absorb another player's contract in a future deal. Now here's why the timing of this trade matters so much. This news broke in the same stretch of the offseason as 2 other seismic Lakers headlines. First, LeBron James officially left the franchise in free agency after years in purple and gold, the single biggest departure in recent Lakers history. Second, Los Angeles had already traded away center DeAndre Ayton to the Washington Wizards earlier in the offseason. So this Kessler deal isn't a small roster tweak happening in isolation. This is the Lakers rebuilding their entire front court, at the exact same moment they lost their franchise cornerstone. That context is going to matter a lot when we get to the leverage conversation in a minute. The case for Utah robbing them blind. We are looking into 3 pillars. Pillar 1. The value gap. Let's actually look at what Walker Kessler is right now as a basketball player, separate from the hype. In his last fully healthy season, 2024-25, Kessler averaged 11.1 points and 12.2 rebounds a game. He led the entire NBA in offensive rebounds per game at 4.6. He added 2.4 blocks a night. Those are legitimately elite two-way center numbers, the kind of stat line that gets a player paid. But look at what happened last season. Kessler opened the year on an absolute tear. 14.4 points, 10.8 rebounds, 1.8 blocks, shooting 70% from the field over his first 5 games. And then it ended. A season-ending shoulder injury shut him down, and he missed the final 77 games of the season. So here's the actual value gap. The Lakers just committed max-level money and 2 unprotected future first-round picks to a player who has exactly 1 fully healthy, fully productive season on his entire NBA resume. Everything else is either a small sample size or a season cut short by injury. And here's the number that really puts it in perspective. Over his full 4-year career in Utah, Kessler's actual averages sit at 9.5 points and 9.3 rebounds a game. That elite 2024-25 season was his ceiling, not his baseline. NBC sports analyst Grant Liffman broke down this trade and didn't hold back. He said the Lakers gave up an extraordinary amount, while Utah walked away with what he called an incredible haul. When national NBA analysts are using language that direct, that's not hot take territory. That's consensus. Pillar 2. The leverage. This is where the trade gets genuinely rough for Los Angeles, because it's not just about the value gap, it's about who held the power in these negotiations. Utah has been sitting on Walker Kessler trade talks for close to 2 years. Reporting shows the Lakers had made inquiries before, and Utah said no. They waited. They let the market come to them instead of rushing a deal. Meanwhile, ESPN reported that Luka Doncic had personally told the Lakers front office that he wanted an A-list center to pair with him in the pick and roll. That wasn't a rumor whispered between reporters. That became public knowledge. And once it did, every front office in the league, including Utah's, knew exactly how badly Los Angeles needed a deal like this to happen. Utah wasn't desperate, the Lakers were. And when one team needs a deal and the other team doesn't, the team that doesn't need it always wins the negotiation. Utah used every ounce of that leverage to extract 2 unprotected first-round picks and 2 additional swaps for a center who had just come off a lost season. Pillar 3. The aftermath. Now on paper, the basketball fit genuinely makes sense. Kessler as a rim-running, lob-catching big next to Doncic and Austin Reeves in pick-and-roll actions is a real, sound basketball idea. Rob Pelinka said as much himself when announcing the deal, pairing a dominant big with 2 elite pick-and-roll guards. But zoom out and look at the full picture of the Lakers offseason. They enter this season having lost LeBron James. They've already moved on from DeAndre Ayton, and now they're carrying a $32.5 million a year commitment to a center with a serious, recent injury history. If Kessler's shoulder holds up, this deal looks perfectly reasonable in hindsight. If it doesn't, the Lakers have mortgaged 2 future first-round picks for essentially nothing, right at the exact moment their championship window around Luka Doncic is supposed to be opening. And there's a structural consequence here that goes beyond just this one trade. As a result of this deal, the Lakers are now reportedly hard-capped at the first apron, and they currently have no first-round picks left available to trade. That means if something breaks during the season, an injury, a bad fit, a need for one more piece, the front office has almost no draft capital left to go get it. This trade didn't just cost future picks. It boxed in the Lakers' ability to make any other move this year. In fact, this isn't just my opinion or a handful of critical articles. On July 17th, just days ago, a formal trade grading study across the entire NBA offseason named this the single worst trade of the summer, projecting that Kessler's arrival could cost the Lakers roughly 4 points of team scoring per game. That's not a fringe take. That's a league-wide study putting a number on the damage. Let's zoom out even further, because this isn't the first time in NBA history a team has bet a pile of future first-round picks on present-day value. The trade that always comes up in these conversations is the 2013 Brooklyn Nets deal for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. Brooklyn sent Boston a package including multiple unprotected future first-round picks in exchange for 2 aging stars trying to chase one more championship run. Those picks turned into some of the most painful, franchise-crippling losses in modern NBA trade history, because Boston used them to rebuild for years afterward. Now, to be clear, this Kessler trade is not on that level. Not yet, and maybe not ever. The players and stakes are different, but the shape of the bet is strikingly similar. Multiple unprotected first-round picks, handed over for a player whose single biggest question mark is simply whether he'll be available to play. Now let's be fair to the Lakers here, because there's a real counter-argument, and I want to give it its full weight before I give you my final verdict. First, Utah is in a rebuilding phase right now. Those 2031 and 2033 unprotected picks might not land in the lottery at all. If the Lakers stay competitive with Doncic over the next several years, those picks could end up landing in the middle of the first round instead of near the top. Unprotected does not automatically mean disastrous. It depends entirely on how good the Lakers are when those years actually arrive. Second, when he's healthy, Walker Kessler is a legitimately elite two-way center, and he's only 24 years old. This isn't an aging veteran squeezing out one last contract. This is a player who, if his body cooperates, could be entering the best years of his career right as he's paired with 2 elite passers in Doncic and Reeves. Third, the pick swaps specifically are a softer risk than the outright unprotected picks. On a swap, the Lakers keep whichever outcome is better for them in that given year, so those 2 aren't quite as dangerous as the 2 straight unprotected picks in the deal. And there's a fourth point worth raising. Sometimes a front office simply has to make a decisive move. After losing LeBron James and moving on from Ayton, standing pat and doing nothing would have left this roster with a massive hole at center, heading into a season where expectations around Doncic are sky high. Doing something imperfect can be better than doing nothing at all. But here's why none of that fully erases the core problem. The Lakers didn't make a modest, low-risk move to fill a need. They committed max-level money and real, unprotected future draft capital to a player with exactly one healthy, fully productive NBA season on record. Even with every fair point above taken into account, that is still a significant, real gamble, not a value swing in the Lakers' favor. Before I give you my final verdict, if you're enjoying breakdowns like this one, go ahead and hit subscribe. I break down the biggest trades and storylines in basketball like this every single week, so you don't miss the next one. Alright, let's get back into it. Here's the thing that separates a real breakdown from a hot take that ages badly by next season. You have to actually project this forward. 2 years from now, this entire trade comes down to exactly one variable: Walker Kessler's shoulder. Scenario 1. Kessler stays healthy. He delivers numbers close to his 2024-25 form, that 11 and 12 line with elite rebounding and rim protection, next to Doncic and Reeves in the pick and roll. In that world, the Lakers have their long-term starting center locked in through his prime years. The fit looks exactly as good as Pelinka promised. And those two unprotected picks become a fair price for finally solving a real defensive weakness. In that scenario, Los Angeles looks smart in hindsight, and this whole conversation flips. Scenario 2. The injury history repeats itself. Kessler misses significant time again, or simply can't stay durable across a 4-year max-level deal. In that world, Utah walks away with 2 unprotected first-round picks and 2 additional swaps for a player who barely suited up for the Lakers. Meanwhile, Los Angeles is stuck paying $32.5 million a year for what amounts to a bench piece, during the exact stretch that was supposed to be Luka Doncic's championship window. Right now, with only one fully healthy, fully productive season on his record, the probability genuinely favors Utah in this equation. This isn't me saying the Lakers made an indefensible move. Sometimes a front office has to take a calculated risk to fill a roster hole. But calculated risk is exactly what this is. It is a bet, not a sure thing. And the team taking on the least risk in this entire deal is Utah, not Los Angeles. So here's my question for you, and I want a real answer in the comments, not just an emoji. Where does this Walker Kessler trade rank among the riskiest future picks for present value trades in recent NBA history? Better than the Nets-Celtics disaster from 2013? Worse? Somewhere in between? Drop a number in the comments, 1 being not risky at all, and 10 being this could define the Lakers' next decade, and I'll pin the best take I see. And if you want to see where this trade actually lands 2 years from now, make sure you're subscribed, because I'll be tracking this one all season long.